One of the things that Senator Sanders points to, and a lot of your critics point to, is you made 3 speeches for Goldman Sachs. You were paid $675,000 for 3 speeches. Was that a mistake? I mean, was that a bad error in judgment?
Look, I made speeches to lots of groups. I told them what I thought. I answered questions.
But did you have to be paid $675,000?
Well, I don't know. That's what they offered. So.
We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%. The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
The rescue was one of the most extraordinary federal interventions into the private sector and is on track to become one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive.
Today, we are diving into the question of why do many of our global leaders appear to be exceedingly wealthy. I'm not referring to just any world leaders, not those. I'm specifically addressing the ordinary citizens who, through democratic processes, are elected to serve as the nation's high-ranking civil servants with 6-figure salaries. How is it that, even in economies grappling with widespread poverty, democratically elected politicians manage to amass significant wealth? This video will delve into the peculiar methods employed by world leaders to accumulate wealth. It will share not one, but 3 captivating stories that stretch from the gold mines of Kenya to the intriguing world of Capitol Hill's lizard people. By the conclusion of this video, you'll gain insight into the enigma of a ghost NGO, learn how to scale an export business without actual exports, and discover the reasons behind Nancy Pelosi's substantial net worth, reaching into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Part 1. Do nothing. Have you ever wondered why certain countries remain trapped in a cycle of poverty despite substantial investments in their economies? Between 1986 and 2006, the Philippines witnessed considerable economic growth, maintaining an average year-over-year growth rate of about 4% over an unprecedented 2-decade period. However, the economic prosperity of the country did not translate into an improvement in the quality of life for its residents as swiftly as economists had anticipated. In the early 2000s, it appeared that the situation was deteriorating. By 2006, over 27 million Filipinos still lived below the poverty line, constituting approximately 1/3 of the population. This predicament was attributed to a combination of political corruption, political instability, and natural disasters, which collectively deterred foreign investment and meaningful aid from reaching the country. To address the urgent need for financial intervention, the government increased spending on the country's infrastructure, utilizing the Priority Development Assistance Fund, PDAF. The PDAF allowed congressmen and women to directly invest money in smaller-scale infrastructure projects within their local constituencies. While the executive branch handled larger infrastructure spending, the aim was to allocate the nation's capital more effectively by investing in the specific needs of each constituency, an ostensibly noble cause. However, instead of directing these funds to legitimate projects, lawmakers colluded with a businesswoman named Janet. With Janet's assistance, the congressman diverted at least $200 million into ghost NGOs. These NGOs existed only on paper and purported to undertake community-focused infrastructure projects, creating the illusion of ongoing development in the Philippines. The scam reached a dramatic conclusion when Janet's second cousin and former assistant blew the whistle on the entire operation.
The Philippine Anti-Graft Court acquits Janet Lim Napoles, the alleged mastermind in the 2014 multi-billion peso pork barrel scam.
Yet, what remained even more concealed than these embezzled funds was an alarming revelation. Part 2. Gold, diamonds, fairy dust. Allow me to share the tale of the most extensive scam in Kenya's history. Picture this. Your country strikes gold, but you, as a citizen, never reap the benefits. The year is 1978, and Kenya's newly elected president, Daniel Arap Moi, is set to lead for the next 24 years. Under his leadership, Kenya grapples with severe debt issues, hindering investment in critical infrastructure and social services. Simultaneously, there is a substantial decline in agricultural productivity from the 1980s to the 1990s, with Kenya's agricultural growth rate falling below the population growth rate. This forces the country to increase food imports to compensate for domestic production shortfalls. Recognizing the urgency to create new revenue streams, the Kenyan government has shifted its focus to developing new export capabilities beyond traditional commodities like coffee and tea. To incentivize diversification, the government introduces the Exchange Rate Compensation Scheme, featuring a notable 20% bonus for exporters of non-traditional products. This bonus aims to make non-traditional exports more attractive and profitable, encouraging businesses to explore new markets and diversify Kenya's export basket. The exchange rate scheme is designed to shield exporters from losses due to fluctuating exchange rates, a crucial element for a successful export industry. However, a massive scam unfolds, undermining these efforts. Goldenberg International secures a monopoly on exports of gold and diamonds from Kenya, receiving a subsidy of 35% of the export value, 15% higher than the official rate. Shockingly, Kenya had no gold or diamond reserves. The gold was smuggled from the Congo. Goldenberg International falsely represents the smuggled gold as Kenyan, exploiting the government's export incentive programs. With collusion from government officials, employees, members of Kenya's judiciary, and even the president, the scam persists for years. Goldenberg International produces false documentation to support claims of exporting gold and diamonds from a country with no such resources. The company later falsifies declarations of massive gold sales overseas, securing additional funds from Kenya's central bank. The majority of these transactions occur between 1991 and 1993, during a period of rampant inflation. The financial drain from the scam exceeds 10% of Kenya's annual GDP, with estimates suggesting that up to $2.3 billion may have been stolen. The exposure of this scam begins with David Munyake, an honest employee of Kenya's central bank. Noticing dubious payments for supposed diamond and gold exports, he alerts his supervisor, who confirms his suspicions. Munyake leaks the documents to opposition MPs, sparking nationwide outrage. In the quest for justice, Kamlesh Patni is framed as the sole mastermind behind Goldenberg International.
It's not in the books in Hong Kong or China.
It is blood money.
However, despite widespread public anger and the scale of the scam, Patni faced no life sentence and was acquitted in 2013. The scandal highlights the depth of corruption within Daniel Arap Moi's administration, as key officials implicated in the crime evade accountability while the Kenyan people are left grappling with the aftermath. Inside the insiders. Meet Spencer Backus, who in 2008 earned $170,000 annually representing American citizens in Alabama, the fifth poorest state in the U.S., serving as the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. One of the most influential committees in Congress, Spencer closely collaborated with the banking industry, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, and the SEC. Leading up to the 2008 financial crisis, Spencer, along with members of the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury Department, engaged in high-stakes, secretive meetings with the House Financial Services Committee to address the imminent collapse of government-sponsored mortgage providers Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. In essence, some government insiders foresaw the 2008 crisis and prepared for it.
0.7% here, a loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets.
During this period, Spencer was shorting the market, and when it eventually collapsed, he profited. This story remained dormant until 2011, when Peter Schweizer's controversial book, Throw Them All Out, captivated the American public. The book exposed insider trading practices among lawmakers, including Spencer. Fueled by public outrage, Spencer faced an investigation by the Office of Congressional Ethics. By 2012, the investigation concluded that Spencer had committed no wrongdoing, further intensifying public dissatisfaction. Americans began questioning whether congressmen should be allowed to trade stocks at all. As the issue gained relevance, the Stock Act was enacted in 2012 to prevent insider trading by Congress members. Under the Stock Act, members were required to disclose stock trades within 45 days, and were prohibited from using confidential information for investing. However, the Stock Act has significant loopholes. One such loophole involves the use of blind trusts, allowing members of Congress to place their stock holdings in trusts managed by independent trustees. Despite this, blind trusts can still be influenced by members of Congress, defeating the purpose of preventing insider trading. Another loophole relates to stock options, which are not considered securities under the Stock Act. Consequently, members of Congress are not required to disclose their stock option trades. Since its enactment, the Stock Act has achieved limited success. Between 2019 and 2023, approximately 53% of Congress members engaged in stock trading. An analysis by the New York Times revealed that over half of these stock-owning members were on committees with potential insights into the companies they traded. While many members of Congress participate in stock trading, some draw more attention than others. For instance, Nancy Pelosi in 2018 invested in NVIDIA stock options before the Trump administration announced tariffs on Chinese semiconductor imports. In 2021, she invested in Tesla just days before the company secured a massive deal with Hertz. Nancy Pelosi's estimated net worth today exceeds $120 million. Nancy's husband, Paul, plays a crucial role in managing the Pelosi household's trades. As the owner and head operator of a major financial services company in San Francisco, Paul executes trades on behalf of the Pelosi family. The Pelosis assert that Nancy's role in Congress has never influenced the trades made by her husband. The question remains whether this arrangement reflects practical truth, or if the public is being duped in a game so convoluted it resembles a comedy sketch show. The stories we've uncovered shed light on the challenges our global societies face in holding leaders accountable and ensuring transparency.
A stock purchase or sale based on information you received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay, thank you.